Once upon a time, in a village, nestled so deep within a valley that the sun seemed to visit it last and leave it first, lived an old woman named Alara. The villagers saw her as just a part of the scenery, like the ancient oak tree in the square, or the babbling brook that ran through the fields. She lived in a small, crooked cottage at the edge of the woods, its roof thick with moss and its garden a riot of wildflowers and strange-looking herbs. Most people kept their distance. They whispered stories about her that she could talk to animals, that her garden grew plants that could heal any ailment, that she could weave moonlight into thread. They called her magical, sometimes with a hint of fear, sometimes with a touch of ridicule, but they never truly understood the nature of her magic.
One day, a young man named Leo arrived in the village.
He wasn't from around there. He was a merchant's son from a bustling city, but a series of misfortunes had left him with nothing but the clothes on his back and a heart full of despair. He saw the village as a place to hide, to lick his wounds, and to fade away, much like the setting sun. He found work as a farmhand, his shoulders slumped and his eyes always downcast. The villagers, busy with their own lives, paid him little mind. But Alara noticed him. She saw the heavy cloud of sadness that followed him like a shadow. One evening, as Leo was trudging back from the fields, he found his path blocked. A large, gnarled root had seemingly sprung up from the ground, tripping him. He fell, scraping his hands and, worse, bruising his already wounded pride. Frustration boiled over, and he kicked the root, yelling at his own bad luck. Just then, he heard a soft, crackling voice behind him.
"The root did not grow to trip you, young man.
It simply grew where it needed to be." Leo turned to see Alara standing there, a basket of herbs on her arm. Her face was a roadmap of wrinkles, but her eyes twinkled with a light that seemed ancient and wise. He grumbled, "Everything is against me. The world itself seems to want me to fail." Alara smiled gently. "The world doesn't conspire against you, my dear. It simply is. What you see is an obstacle," she said, tapping the root with her worn leather shoe, "is also a foundation. It holds the earth together. It is a matter of perspective." Leo scoffed. "Perspective doesn't fill an empty stomach or mend a broken spirit, doesn't it?" She replied,
"Come.
"Let me show you something." Hesitantly, Leo followed her to her cottage. The air inside was warm and smelled of drying lavender and baking bread. It felt ... safe. Alara gestured for him to sit and handed him a warm cup of tea that tasted like honey and sunshine. "You believe I am magical?" she began, her voice calm and steady. "The villagers tell tales. But my magic isn't in waving a wand or chanting spells. It's simpler than that." She picked up a small, plain-looking seed from a bowl on her table. "Tell me, what do you see?" "A seed," Leo said, unimpressed. "And what is it for?"
Alara prompted. "For planting. For growing into something, I suppose."
"Exactly," she nodded. "Inside this tiny, plain shell is the potential for a towering flower, for food, for beauty. But it will never become any of those things if it just sits in this bowl. It needs soil, water, and sunlight.
It needs to be planted.
It needs to break open and struggle through the dirt to reach the light. Is that struggle a curse? Or is it part of its journey to becoming what it's meant to be?" Leo was silent, the warmth of the cup seeping into his cold hands. He was beginning to understand. "Your misfortunes," Alara continued, her gaze kind. "They have broken you open, just like the shell of a seed. You feel raw, exposed, and buried in the dark. You see it as the end. But what if it's the beginning? What if this is your soil? The pain, the struggle, that is the pressure that will make you grow." She then led him to her loom, a magnificent wooden structure that took up nearly a whole room. A half-finished tapestry was stretched upon it, depicting a brilliant sunrise over the valley. The threads were a dazzling array of colors. "People say I weave with moonlight," she chuckled. "I wish it were that easy."
Look closer." Leo leaned in.
He saw that the beautiful golden threads of the sunrise weren't gold at all. They were ordinary, straw-colored threads, but they were woven so skillfully next to threads of orange, pink, and pale blue that they seemed to glow with an inner light. My magic, Elara explained, is finding the potential in ordinary things. I don't create the light in the thread. I just place it where it can best catch the eye. I combine it with others, so their collective beauty shines brighter than any single one could alone. I see the sunrise hidden within these dull spools of yarn. She looked at Leo, her eyes piercing but kind.
Your magic, young man, is the same.
You have everything you need already inside you. You have strength. You have kindness. You have a story. But you've been looking at each thread of your life individually and seeing only its flaws. You see the thread of failure, the thread of loss, the thread of sorrow. You haven't stepped back to see the tapestry they could create. Over the next few weeks, Leo became a frequent visitor to Elara's cottage. She didn't give him gold or fix his problems with the snap of her fingers. Instead, she taught him. She taught him which weeds in his garden were actually powerful herbs. She taught him how to mend a broken fence not just with wood and nails, but with patience and foresight. She taught him to listen, truly listen, to the sounds of the forest, to the stories of the villagers, and most importantly, to the quiet voice within himself. Leo started to change. His shoulders straightened. He looked people in the eye when he spoke. He started using his merchant skills to help the local farmers get better prices for their goods at a nearby market. He organized the villagers to repair the old bridge, not seeing it as a chore, but as a way to connect them all. He was weaving his own thread into the community's tapestry. One day, a child in the village fell gravely ill. The local healer had no remedy. Panic began to set in. The parents, in their desperation, ran to Elara's cottage, begging for a magical cure. Leo was there, helping her tend to the garden.
Elara remained calm.
She turned to Leo and said, "You know the herbs. You know which ones soothe the fever, which ones ease pain. The magic is not in my hands, but in the knowledge I have shared with you and the care you put into using it." With a newfound confidence, Leo gathered the herbs Elara had taught him about. He carefully prepared a remedy, just as she had shown him. He sat with the child's family, offering not just medicine, but comfort and hope. By morning, the child's fever had broken. The villagers looked at Leo with new eyes. They saw a leader, a healer, a friend. They finally understood. The magic wasn't just in Elara. It was in the potential that existed in everyone. Elara's gift was simply helping them see it. She was a gardener of human potential. Leo never returned to the city. He found his treasure, not in gold or status, but in the rich soil of the village and the connections he had woven. He realized that true magic isn't about changing the world around you with supernatural power. It's about changing how you see the world, and in doing so, unlocking the incredible power that already lies dormant within you and within others. It's about recognizing that every obstacle can be a foundation, every ending can be a beginning, and every ordinary thread can be part of a magnificent tapestry, if only you have the wisdom to see it. Thank you so much for watching! If this story resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more stories to inspire and uplift you. We'll see you in the next one!